Okay, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report on traveling on everyday spend. A lot of different news out there. Unfortunately, some bad news, but we do have some really nice hotel openings, and we've got some incredible offers on credit cards really across the board. So I don't want to end up want to jump right into things and utilize you all's time wisely here. So as far as American Express, we still have the Delta Sky Miles credit cards for personal as well as business. Now that runs through April 2nd, so we still have another month. If you're interested, you'll be able to take your time and figure out which one of the cards are best for you. And always keep in mind that with these offers with American Express, you have 6 months to be able to meet that welcome bonus versus 3 months with most other credit card issuers. Hilton is the new one that we got within the last few days, and want to be able to take a look at that with you all. For the Hilton Honors card, the base model with $0 annual fee, you get 70,000 bonus points and the free night certificate for just $2,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months. Now, the Hilton credit card offers all run through April 29th of 2025. The big deal with, if you're not familiar with the Hilton free night certificate, is that and you hear a lot of people talk about free night certificates, there's points involved, that it's capped at 30,000, 50,000 points, or categories when it comes to Hyatt. That's not the case with Hilton. You are able to book a standard room at many Hilton Honors lodging across the world. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, it works. This, with a no annual fee card of getting that, easily makes this the best welcome bonus offer that it's ever had. And when we look at the Hilton, and for that Hilton Honors, you will get silver status. Silver status gets you that bottle of water when you check in, but it also will allow you to get that 5th night reward for free if you're booking nights on points, and that can really end up giving you excellent value when you're staying multiple nights. The Hilton Honors Surpass card is the middle one of that, with the $150 annual fee, and that one has 130,000 bonus points, and you also still get the free night certificate for just $3,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months of account opening. They do have a Hilton Honors business card, which is increased from 130,000 points to 175,000 bonus points. Now that's a $195 annual fee credit card. Unfortunately, you don't get the free night certificate on the business card with that. Now you do have $240 of Hilton credit, and you also, on the Hilton Honors Surpass, I should have mentioned, have, I believe it's $200 Hilton Honors credit, or Hilton credit. The problem with it, in typical American Express fashion, is that it is broken out into quarters. So for the Hilton Honors Surpass at $200, it's $50 every quarter. And for that Hilton Honors business card, it's $60 each quarter. Now, both credit cards will get you gold status, which will get you the same as the silver status, but you'll also be able to get a food and beverage credit that will vary depending upon what brand you're under. And you'll also be able to be eligible for space available upgrades. Now, that won't mean you're going to a suite 99% of the time. That's really going to be higher floors. Maybe it's one that's slightly larger, but your mileage may vary on that. And then, of course, you have the flagship card, which is the Hilton Honors Aspire card at $550 for the annual fee. Now, that is at 175,000 bonus points rather, for $6,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months. Now, the welcome bonus does not also include that free night certificate on that card as well, but that is mainly because that card comes with the free night certificate each year. So in these 175,000 bonus points is darn near the best offer that they've had on either the business or the Aspire. That really topped out at 180,000 points. So just a shade off of it. So I think that the main thing you would look at is, even if you're new to Hilton Honors and just want to get your feet wet on it, you really will want to look to get to the Hilton Honor Surpass card if the $150 annual fee is doable, mainly because for just $1,000 more of spend in that first 6 months, you are jumping up that bonus points from 70,000 to 130,000 points. And that makes it a significant amount of difference. But even if you can't do it, then at least look at the Hilton Honors one to get that free night certificate when you have no annual fee on that card, and to be able to try it out. That's really an amazing offer, and one that I would suggest to look at. And then lastly, we have the Marriott Bonvoy Business Card, which will be ending in about a couple of weeks, March 12th, 125,000 points, when it normally would have 3 free nights at a 50,000 point cap, $8,000 in spend required in the first 6 months. We've talked about this, and it's really the decision you need to make is, are you better with certificates in your case at 150,000 points that it would normally have, or would you rather have the flexibility of the points with no certificate? Because the certificate, it's a use it or lose it. If you spend 30,000 points, it's only going to be worth 30,000 per certificate. You'll lose the difference, and you only have 1 year to utilize it. So be aware of that and make the best choice that's for you. We still have the Bank of America, Alaska Airline credit cards that are still having the elevated offer. We talked about the Venture Rewards card, now having that $250 credit to be able to use in the portal. 75,000 points that it normally miles that it normally has is equal to the Venture X. And the main issue is that the Venture obviously does not give you lounge access, while the Venture X does, as well as the Venture X has that $300 travel credit each and every year to try to bring down that $395 annual fee. The Southwest credit cards we still have out there, one to be able to look at. Now, those, as I mentioned, will change a bit in the future, but we still don't necessarily know how that's going to actually work for that. But to get that companion pass through February 28th of 2026, even if you flew a couple of times with a player two or a friend, can make up the value in a hurry. And then as far as Chase, we've got the Marriott Bonvoy and Boundless and the Bold cards still that are available. I do want to point out the World of Hyatt cards, because those are going to be ending in the next few days. In that World of Hyatt business card is kind of at its best offer at 60,000 points for $5,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. So make sure that if you're interested in Hyatt, and we'll talk a bit about some different things going on with Hyatt right now to see what is best for your situation. And then we also have the United business cards that are still available to you. Citi, we still have the Citi AAdvantage Platinum Select. US Bank, we still have the US Bank Cash, as well as the Shopper Cash. And then the Wells Fargo, we talked about that last week for those key cards. Once again, if you're a person that doesn't use portals and doesn't normally transfer points but feel more comfortable with Expedia, Hotels.com, and Vrbo, definitely something worth to consider with those two cards. And then as far as Barclays, we've got the JetBlue Plus and the JetBlue Premier. We've talked about this as far as that Plus Select, really with the elevated offer from 50,000 points, really makes it the strong choice if you're looking at a JetBlue card, at least until they get the lounges up in Boston and JFK to give more value to that JetBlue Premier card at the very least. And then as far as transfer bonuses, we're still limited, 25% on Hilton through the March 14th with Amex, 50% Marriott, March 31st through Chase, and then Qatar, March 15th of 2025 through Citi. Now, as far as the points and miles opportunities, these are always going to be a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to make sure just to highlight the ones that are newer as of this last week. Air Canada Aeroplan, we have up to 80% bonus when you're purchasing the points. Now that is good through March 13th. And so that is, there's not a tier system seemingly on this one. 15,000 all the way up to that cap of 500,000 points will get you 80% bonus on that. That's going to bring that cents per mile down to $1.35. I'm sorry, 1.35 cents per mile. And that is pretty much either right at or maybe even slightly under how a lot of people end up valuing Aeroplan points and miles. Now, that's not to say that this is the best offer ever, but it is worth considering if you're looking at some potential upcoming flights. And mainly, even if it's not Air Canada, it's an excellent transfer option to other airlines with that, such as United and such. So if you're looking at something, it might be worth taking a peek at. Then Radisson, which not a whole lot of them these days, at least in the United States, has up to 7,000 bonus points. Complete 3 stays by April 24th. Registration is required. I'll have a link for that registration. Now, the stays can be as short as 1 night, and 500 points after your first stay, 3,000 after your second stay, and then 3,500 points on that third stay, and that's where that 7,000 bonus points can come in. So if it fits for you, 7,000 points is definitely not bad to get. And then Choice hotels, we've got up to 40% off when purchasing points. Now this promotion is going to be ending shortly when it goes through March 3rd. 6,000 to 13,000 points will get you 20%. 14,000 to 17,000 points will get you 25%. And then anything over 18,000 points will get you that 40% bonus and bring that cent per point to 0.62. Once again, very close to how a lot of people may value Choice Hotel points. But once again, as we always talk about, you have to determine what the value of it is based on your particular situation that you may have available to you. And then Breeze Airways, now that one is going to end tonight at 11:59 p.m. Now, it's 45% off of the base fares, and that's the key part to it as far as base. The travel period is through March 5th through September 2nd, which is not bad at all. You use the promo code ESCAPE for that. Now, the problem is that with Breeze Airways, if you look at the breakdown of how that fare is, the base fare is not a whole lot of money. So you don't have it's really not a true 45% off of that bottom line number that you see. It's really going to end up being a few percent. So if you're interested, take a look at it, but definitely pay attention to what it actually means for you on the bottom line number. Hyatt we'll definitely be talking about, and mainly because of different things that are going to be going on that we have date specific. Now, this one has 25% bonus on points purchases. It ends April 14th. You do have to have a minimum purchase of 5,000 points. Unfortunately, as much as I like Hyatt points, it only can have a max purchase of 55,000 points. Now that will bring that, I believe it brings it down to 1.95 cents per point, which makes it really competitive with how, once again, people value it. But I have definitely seen and experienced how much value I can get out of Hyatt points. And I'm already looking at doing something with that. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Lufthansa we're going to talk about because, unfortunately, a lot of things that we've been looking at with them is not going to be quite the same anymore. And then Marriott has Marriott Bonvoy Escapes with 20% off. Stays must be between March 3rd and March 23rd. The sale runs until March 2nd. You do need to use your promo code of QR1. Be careful on this because sales are non-changeable and non-refundable. So if you find a good price that works for you, make sure that you are totally committed for it, because I definitely don't want you to have to lose any funds on that. And that is what we have for points and miles opportunities. So as far as a couple of notes I wanted to pass on was Southwest is now on Expedia, and that was as of, I think, yesterday or the day before. Now, what does that really mean? Well, it doesn't really actually mean a whole lot. Not for us as consumers, mainly for Southwest to have additional potential revenue streams. If you're dealing with Expedia, you're dealing with the whole Expedia group. So Travelocity, Hotwire, Orbitz, as well as cheap tickets. The issue with doing it through them versus Southwest is Southwest says that they're going to provide you the best available airfare. On top of that, I think we all have, most of us, I'll say, have utilized third party to get airfare. And if we ran into a single problem, then you have that's where that value or that bargain you may have gotten may not be quite that bargain, because you don't get to deal directly with the airline, in this case, Southwest customer service. So if you're doing it through anybody, I would definitely still strongly look at doing through Southwest or anybody when they say that they will have the best pricing or will match, those type of things. Chase Travel Portal is an excellent option, as well as just transferring Chase points. So different options other than Expedia, but definitely wanted to make you aware of it. And then more Capital One cards with the 5% entertainment. Now that's through December 31st of 2025. 5% cash back on the Quicksilver cards. The Journey, which is a student card that I'm not even sure if it's still, you can even get it. And then the Spark Business cards. Now note that the Savor Rewards card, which I talk about a lot with the 8% on the Capital One Entertainment, still is, it's a permanent. It's not relegated to a date period of time. So that is going to continue. I want to say, hey, Matt, thanks for coming. Do you need a Radisson account, or can you go through Choice since Choice bought US Radissons? So the Radisson one that I saw in the link that it has goes to Radisson's website. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything that talked about you could do it through Choice to get through those points. The link that I ended up seeing for it is directly to Radisson. So I'm going to vote that that particular one is through Radisson, even though Choice bought them out. But I think because they didn't necessarily integrate them into their Choice program, I'm sorry, said that wrong. But I think because they've still kind of given kind of a veil line between the two, that we're going to continue to see Radisson promotions strictly on Radisson. But that's my thought on that. And yeah, that resale is deceptive. It sounded good, and I actually looked at pricing of one and quickly realized the mistake that I was looking at. So I do want to share a redemption that I had just a couple of days ago, and this is to encourage any and all of you when you are considering how you're going to use your points and miles. So as you all know, I normally will go out to Arizona through Las Vegas each year to see my in-laws. And I'm a person that really likes to only fly first class. I don't fly a whole bunch, so when I do, I really like to do that. But I will normally try to find different avenues. So I'll normally drive from my hometown in Ohio down to Cincinnati, which is about an hour away from here, to fly a nonstop, which normally has a little bit lesser cost in Delta Sky Miles. Or I might fly through Minneapolis to kind of bring down the cost versus going through Atlanta. So I was looking at this, and I'm trying to hold on to my Sky Miles right now. So I actually looked at Alaska Miles, which I do have some of, and I had came across, unbelievably, but there are some out there, I came across 3 different options to fly out to Vegas through American Airlines, which is a partner airline of them, but it was 30,000 miles one way, 60,000 miles round trip. I will normally spend 120,000, give or take, sky miles to fly first class out to Las Vegas. And when I say that this was 30,000 miles, Alaska miles, it was first class to Las Vegas. And there were 3 different options. So it wasn't like only one was out there, and there wasn't a restriction to say that there was only 2 or 3 left on 2 of those options. Unfortunately, I could not book it. I went through the whole process, was going to pay with my points or miles rather, and it said it couldn't process it. I called Alaska Airlines, spoke to a person, and she went ahead and she was able to get it processed. It did have a couple of extra steps because it was American. She had to walk me onto the American Airlines website with her on the phone for me to book the seats there. So if you are a person that has Alaska miles, definitely make sure to take a look on this for wherever you're going to go. It doesn't take any time to be able to take a peek at that, but the savings that I ended up being able to get for that, for 60,000 miles round trip on American Airlines first class, was outstanding. So I just want to share that with you because sometimes we can get kind of, and I'll speak for myself, I can get caught up in just saying, oh, do I have enough Delta miles to do something? Or do I have enough points to be able to do something? Especially when it comes to airfare, there are some different twists and turns that you can end up finding something, some diamond in the rough. And I want to say that because it wasn't a case where there was only one seat left or there wasn't only one route I could have done. And it was both ways. I was able to get that very easily with no limitation on the seats that were available for that. So if you have Alaska miles, I just wanted to encourage you to take a look at that if you're looking at those. So let's talk about United Airlines. So we got an update in regards to their lounges that are going on. So I wanted to share that with you all. So first, we've got the United Club Fly, which opened on the 25th that was out in Houston. Yes, I believe it was Houston. Club Fly, if you're not familiar with it, it is a dedicated takeaway lounge, and United is the only U.S. carrier that does that. So literally, you're just going in, you can get yourself a cup of coffee, you can get yourself a sandwich, and you're walking out. It is not meant for you to hang out there. They are going to be doing an upgraded and expanded version of that in Denver coming up, and it will be over 30,000 square feet. And that's going to be completed by the end of summer. So if you're going through Denver and you're a person that's kind of going in and out, that should be an excellent option as it has now will be expanded. They're also going to be expanding the Polaris lounges in Chicago and Newark. And that will leave only one hub of United to not have a Polaris lounge, and that is Denver. We don't have any talk of when that may happen or if it will happen. From the United Club level, there are going to be planned updates for Houston, San Francisco, and Dulles for Washington, D.C. The Houston one will end up having the largest United Club when it's completed as part of the Terminal B North project that is going on over there. It will be over 50,000 square feet and will seat nearly 600 over there. San Francisco will get a new United Club in Terminal 2, and Dulles is going to be getting a new concourse altogether, which currently is being referred to as Concourse E. And it will be more than 40,000 square feet, and it will be completed late next year. Now, the other part that ended up happening was they were hinting at there will be membership changes as far as access to United lounges because they have overcrowding. And one of the things that they noted is that they felt it was best to be last in this process. We've obviously seen the ups and downs of Delta especially, and they feel that they've learned some things from it and will be able to apply that when we see that. So we'll have to see what that kind of looks like for United. So we'll look at that coming up. And then let's move to Hyatt, but LS, oh, I only like first class. Yeah, I it's definitely not a case where I've not flown something else. Definitely in my younger years, but I am still not a great person that loves flying. I don't mind I like traveling to a certain extent, but the flying thing still kind of eats at me, and I need every little bit I can get on that flight to make it tolerable for me. So for those 2 or 3 flights I do a year, yes, first class. I'm going to try to do that when I can. Um, let's talk about Hyatt. So we've got Hyatt. Let's talk about Hyatt Select in the world of Hyatt. So Hyatt Select is a new brand that they are introducing, and they are putting it in for the Essentials collection. And if you don't not aware of that, that includes Hyatt Place, Hyatt House, Hyatt Studios, which recently got named and captioned by Hyatt. Now, the Hyatt Select hotels are supposed to be for efficient, affordable stays around the country. The brand will have hot and cold breakfast that'll be included in the cost, 24-hour market with food, beer, wine, and snacks. And it will also include workspaces and high-speed internet. When you look at some of the renderings and images of this, I don't see that it ends up being so much different than, and I haven't been in a caption before. I've been in the Hyatt Place and Hyatt House. It's probably a slight tick up from what I've seen in a Hyatt Place and a Hyatt House for a base room. You just kind of wonder as you get additional brand like this, is where is going to be the place for this? You can see some nice looking Hyatt houses and Hyatt places around the country. Even where I'm at, I've done mattress running out of a Hyatt place, about 2 or 3 Hyatt places and Hyatt houses a couple of years ago to get globalist status. So it'll be interesting to see how well that brand actually does. It looks fine, but I don't see it as being some type of groundbreaking kind of design or offering that Hilton doesn't already kind of have. Then let's talk about the Hyatt category changes, which has happened. Now, let's get the negative out of the way. We've got 151 hotels that are going to be changing as of March 25th at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that's in regards to doing reservations. Of course, excuse me, of course, 118 of them are going to be going to a higher category, while 33 will drop to a lower category. This is one that I think that we all should be pretty used to at this point. What I really like about how Hyatt does their business is that they give you plenty of notice of what they're going to do, and you get a full list of all of the hotels that are impacted. So you can plan ahead and know what you want to do. So in this case, the reservation, if you are planning on getting a stay at a Hyatt that is going to be impacted by this, if you're able to do the reservation by March 25th, you can secure that current point value. You do not have to complete your stay before March 25th. You just have to be able to reserve it and get that done. I have done that twice when this has happened. One time it was I was able to get it reserved when going out to the Dominican for a week. Saved probably 75, 80,000 points because the all-inclusives had jumped up like 10,000 points per night. And so when they do these kind of things, having that much time is really the key. And so right now, I'm considering the same thing. I'm considering going to the Dominican again. I've looked at the pricing. I'm trying to determine what I can be able to do quick enough to get this done by March 25th. And this case is the Secrets in Cap Cana and Dominican Republic. They're going to move up one level on the all-inclusives, and that's going to add 10,000 points per night to that. So that's 60, 70,000 points that it would cost me more if I am not able to book it. So I am strongly considering getting that out of the way. So make sure to check the list. If you're looking at any Hyatts, you're able to book out a year. So you can get ahead of this thing and save yourself the points. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that and take advantage of it if you're looking at it. And then as far as how this is, many people probably know, but I just wanted to make sure to share this. It's all about how much Hyatt has to pay out to these hotels. And most of them are independent necessarily. So if you are going to, if you have the most popular hotels, so that let's say the Zilara all-inclusive brand from Hyatt, that one a couple years ago definitely jumped up to its highest tier that they have for that all-inclusive. And we've seen that with Park Hyatts. We've seen that with all of the brands. I mean, I'm even seeing right now where the Hyatt Place in my town is going to go from a category 1 to a category 2. When they are that popular, Hyatt has to pay out more money. They have to essentially pay out the market rate for you staying there and paying points. Versus if it is an underperforming one, they're really only paying enough just to kind of keep the lights on. It's a minimal amount that they have to pay for that. And so this is where they get to balance, essentially rebalance themselves, where the money that they're paying out for the points ends up being a little bit more equal for them. So I don't view it as a big issue. I think as long as they continue to give us a chance to know which hotels are involved and how much, and that we get months to be able to work this out, or at least a month, then I'm okay with this. But I'm curious what you all's thoughts are when it comes to Hyatt and with this versus what else you've seen. And so I see DC Consulting. We stayed 3 weeks ago at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and our Saturday is moving from category 7 to 8. Yeah, that was one of the ones I've seen, and I actually was surprised that I know it's real popular, and I've looked at going there. I just was really surprised that they were going to pull the trigger to make that all the way up to a category 8. But it is such a unique setting over there. Yeah, I am sorry that it happened for you, but at least you were able to get out there before they are going to be jumping that up. So I'm glad that was able to happen. So let's touch on the safari camps. And this kind of goes to the thumbnail that I had done for this. We've got 2 safari camps that are going to be opening in Kenya in 2025 and in 2026. So, and these are both under Marriott. And one is going to open this summer in August. The other one is slated for 2026. And so let's look at the Ritz Carlton, and it's going to be the one in 2025 at the Ritz Carlton Masai Mara. That's going to open in August. 20 tented suites. Each comes with a separate living area, private sunken lounge, infinity plunge pool, as well as indoor and outdoor showers, and it is all inclusive. The problem is that this is so off the chart, priced at $6,000 for double occupancy per night. It blows away from what I've read or seen anything else that is related to safaris. I can't believe that number can stay that high, but we'll have to see. If you're not familiar with Masai Mara, it's a national reserve out in Kenya. It is known to have the highest concentration of wild animals in one location in the entire world. So it is an amazing setting. And if you see the images for this, it is out of this world. It is definitely a bucket list trip. But at $6,000 a night, I can't even imagine it. So, I just don't know. The other one is going to be the JW Marriott. And now this one is going to be at the Kenya Rhino Reserve Safari Camp. And that is going to open up in 2026. But it is also going to be 20 tenant suites. We don't know more of the specifics yet. Now, JW Marriott already has what they call a lodge over at Masai Mara there. So they are really populating these safari camps with that two at the Masai Mara and then two JW Marriott, which is, I think, is kind of interesting when you look at the brand, that this is not normally what they do. They're normally dealing with much bigger kind of setups. The renderings look fine, but that should be an interesting item. But I don't know about that $6,000 for Ritz Carlton for that. So something to be able to look at, and it's always great as these hotels continue to expand what they offer for you to be able to get from their points, whether it is glamping, whether it is this type of safari camps. This is what can make those points and miles so much more valuable for all of us to be able to do things that we wouldn't normally be able to do just on the straight dollars that we may have in our pocket. So wanted to talk to you about that. Let's touch on Lufthansa Miles and More. So we now know that there's going to be an overhaul of their mileage redemptions effective June 3rd of this year. So flights on Lufthansa, Swiss, and Austrian will go from their award chart to dynamic pricing, and it's going to be based upon the ticket price set by the airline. So we're going to have a lot of volatility with that. All other of the airlines that are part of that Lufthansa group will follow a new award chart. We also have talked about the monthly mileage bargain awards. That is now going to be eliminated because of this dynamic pricing. Now, Miles and More will continue to use the same saver level award availability, which is not ideal because we've seen where people do these devaluations or go to dynamic. And one of the biggest selling points they want to tell us is that there'll be more award space. We saw that when we were seeing with Virgin doing that as some kind of carrot and stick kind of thing where, yes, we're going to beat you over the head with this stick, but we're going to give you we say we're going to give you more opportunities to be able to use those award points. We're not seeing that necessarily from Lufthansa. They say the economy awards will go lower. We'll see that. We'll see if that's true. But I thought it was interesting where they said it may make more seats available to book with miles on some routes, business in particular. If somebody is telling me when they're already going to charge or go to dynamic pricing that they may do something on some routes, it's not something I'm going to be relying on. If we get it, so be it. But to me, this makes the Miles and More program that was already a difficult program because of the lack of transfer partners available, other than getting points from that Lufthansa card for the most part, makes this to me essentially useless at this point. I'm sure that there'll be people that fly to Europe that will hopefully be able to find something out of it. But at this point, if I'm going to be flying to Europe, I'm going to probably be looking at a lot of other options to find some good pricing. But if you are a person that uses Lufthansa Miles and More, let me know what your thoughts are of what you're seeing from this and how it may or may not change how you utilize the program. And so let's move to Costa Rica. Costa Rica, another place that I'm hoping to go in the next couple of years or 3 years, really has continued to have some really nice lodging that is over there, and we're going to see two of these right now in the two biggest and most beautiful areas where we're seeing that lodging. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Costa Rica, and this resort is called Necawi. That's how it's pronounced. I wanted to make sure to put that in there to help myself as well as you. So Necawi means lush garden, and it is now open there in Costa Rica. There are 107 rooms and suites with 3 treetop tent accommodations as well. It also in that number includes a 4-bedroom grand villa, 36 private residences, as well as a 10-bedroom home that is at that location. They also have what's called the Nimbus Spa and Wellness Complex, and it is 27,000 square feet. It has Latin America's largest hydrotherapy pool and treatment cabanas suspended in the trees. Keep in mind, we're still only talking about there's only 107 rooms and suites at this place. This is obviously an ultra luxury location, which is not surprising with it being a Ritz-Carlton Reserve. I believe that this one makes only the 8th Ritz-Carlton Reserve in the world. The lowest cash rate that I was flipping around to see was basically $1,600 a night, and it would cost you 128,000 Marriott Bonvoy points per night. Now, this resort is on the 1,400-acre Peninsula Papagayo area, and if you've ever seen any pictures of it or haven't, take a look. It is a beautiful, lush area there in Costa Rica. Few different places over there. I think Andaz is over there as well, over there. So definitely a beautiful place, but at $1,600 a night, 128,000 Marriott Bonvoy points, you may have to kind of make sure that it's the right one for you. And let's look at now the Waldorf Astoria, Costa Rica. And happy Friday to you too, Lonnie. Appreciate you stopping through. And so for the Waldorf Astoria, Costa Rica, now this one is the Waldorf Astoria Costa Rica Punta Cacique. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's now taking reservations, but it will open up on May 1st. There will be 148 guest rooms and 40 suites. They'll normally come with 65-inch televisions, freestanding soaking tubs in the outdoor space, as well as rainfall shower heads. You can upgrade your options to plunge pools, as well as 2 and 3 bedroom options. This is the first Waldorf Astoria in Costa Rica, and this is at the Guanacaste province, which is the other heavily populated area for really nice hotels there in Costa Rica. Now, the cash rate on this one appears to be over $1,500 a night. And for Hilton points, it's 120,000 you're probably starting at. The setting is on a 300-foot cliff. Once again, if you go to the Hilton site, look for that Waldorf Astoria. It is beautiful. But those are the two of the new places to see and be able to experience while in Costa Rica. And then let's take a look at more small luxury hotels of the world that are now available on Hilton. So if you all remember, small luxury hotels had a 6-year beautiful run with Hyatt that ended in May 2024. And then Hilton ended up starting their partnership with them in the fall of 2024. Hyatt obviously went on to do Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for whatever that's worth. There's 30 more properties that were just added to the Hilton system. I'll have a link for that where you can be able to see all of the different small luxury hotels that are currently under the Hilton ability to use points at and to earn them as well. Now, we really don't know how many locations will eventually be added, mainly because these are independent boutique type hotels. So you can have some that come in, some that come out. And there's not ever an expectation that the entire portfolio of small luxury hotels will become, part of the Hilton program. This initially started with 390 properties when they first started. Now it's well over 400. And so I think the biggest thing to be able to see with this, as we talked about even with Marriott, as these major brands, Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, IHG, to name a few, as these continue to become more diverse and provide different experiences with those points, as well as actually try to market experiences for you to spend your points at, I think we're going to start seeing in some cases and continue in others where that point value of each of these brands are going to start going a bit higher. So we'll need to kind of keep an eye on that as we look at different opportunities to be able to use. So that is the look that I wanted to provide you all for today. Wanted to make sure that if you all have any questions or thoughts of anything that's going on that we need to touch on, always like being able to talk with you all about what you all are seeing and what your experiences are, because I can definitely learn something from them as well as everybody else that ends up watching and listening to this. So I just want to make sure if there's anything else we need to touch on or anything. Um, but definitely, if you are if have gotten benefits from this live stream, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Still working the way to that first 1,000 subscribers, and really appreciate all the support that has been provided to the channel so far. It's really been a great experience over this last year or so. But if there's not anything else, I can't thank you all enough for joining me today, and we'll definitely come back and do it again for next week. So thank you all, and you all have a great evening.